Good afternoon, people. Let's do a couple checks. I feel like I haven't been live in forever. Interesting. I want to do an Ask Me Anything. I haven't done one in a while. Just want to provide value real quick. It's a very cold morning here in Fairbanks, Alaska. Eielson Air Force Base. What's going on, Mark? I don't want to mispronounce your first name. Mr. or Mrs. May. Hello. Good morning. Good afternoon, rather. Please, if you have any questions, go ahead and list them now. My intent is to get on here for give or take, 20 minutes or so and just answer questions. Just provide value as best I can. Shameless plug, first link in the description. If you would like to book a one-on-one session to get your question answered, if you want some perspective, I am now offering those. I had one last night, again, just here to provide value. But yeah, it's been a smooth morning. Just got back from the gym. Am I familiar with Jordan Peterson? I am very familiar with my guy, Jordan. He is the GOAT of... what can I say about Jordan Peterson? Jordan Peterson is probably one of the most intriguing figures in, the intellectual field, when it comes to the academic realm. A deep thinker, someone who likes to unravel the complex, into very just small pieces. It's amazing mind. What's going on, Jana? Gerard, it's good. Michael Chase asks, what is the best duty station for a married airman and a wife who is civilian? That is a very subjective question. It really just depends. Your hobbies will influence the answer. In my experience, you will want to be at a base that has a lot to offer in terms of amenities. Currently under COVID, being in a major city would be amazing because you would still have, certain amount of amenities available to you. Right now in Fairbanks, it's, first of all, there's not a lot to begin with in a city this size. But when it comes to, just having options, there's not a lot. So Andrews was my first base, and I enjoyed that base, especially in hindsight, realizing what I had available to me with DC being right outside the gate, New York City 3 hours away, Philly 2 hours away. You can't really beat that. A major city, find bases that are near major cities, maybe not in major cities, but near major cities. Andrews comes to mind mainly because that's where I was stationed first. It is a higher, tempo based, so you will experience that. But in terms of your personal life, amazing place to be. It's just my opinion. Of course, I would love to be overseas. So if you can get overseas and get that experience, if you've never lived in a different country, that's an amazing experience. I definitely recommend, something like Ramstein or Aviano, Japan, the UK. Get overseas, just get that different experience. Let's see what else we got. Yeah, we here, Mark. You see me. We here. Your thoughts on recovering from some disease and joining the military? I don't have context on whatever disease that is. I'm not even going to pretend to be a doctor. I'm not even going to pretend to offer, any advice concerning the medical field. What I will say is, do what's in your control. Control what you can control when it comes to diet, lifestyle, fitness, holistic, measures towards your health. Look into that and live that out. That's the best advice. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a doctor. Good afternoon, Gerard. We spoke to him already. Let's see what else we got. Devion mentions thinking about joining the Air Force. My husband is in the Army. Is there a strong possibility that we'd be stationed together? Um, that's typically the most interesting part of being joint spouse, especially when it's different branches. There's always a chance. It does happen. I remember when I was working at the Pentagon, technical sergeant that worked in personnel in the same office. Her husband worked downstairs at the Pentagon, but he was Army. So there are opportunities like that, albeit limited. Uh, in most cases, you're kind of limited to joint bases. So like Andrews is a joint base, Lackland is a joint base, uh, or areas like Ramstein where it's like a hub in Europe. Um, that's typically where you'll end up. So, again, I don't have all the context on how to go about that or applying for joint spouse, or is that even available to, different branches. That's out of my expertise. But it's something to look into. Again, those bases that are around the world that are joint bases, that's what you would at best be looking towards is those joint bases. Hope that helps. Gerard asks, I'm a father of 2 boys with a wife. I'm in the process of joining right now, but I need one waiver cleared. My wife is pregnant. Can you join with 3 kids, or do I need a waiver? Of course, you can join with as many kids as you would like. Again, that waiver is probably the only thing between you and joining. And again, just be patient, be prepared, be ready for that call. That if they called you today or tomorrow and say, "Yo, you on the next thing smoking to Lackland or to Keesler," would you be ready? Is the question that you would need to ask. Would your family be prepared for you to leave tomorrow? Places like this in Alaska where there is not a lot of room for error when it comes to being prepared. Are the tires? Is the engine running properly? Is the check engine light on? Is your savings account healthy for those emergencies that may come up? That's what you should be preparing for while the waiver is still in its process. Come on, chat. Don't do that. Mark Vargas speaks on, I went to MEPS a couple weeks ago and they said they found a cyst in my ear of some sort. They want to do a consultation. Do they usually deny in the Air Force after consultation? No, I don't know. The conversation is happening. Again, this is not a place where we come to get assurances. I'm not that person that's able to give assurances, nor do I give assurances that says, everything will be all right. You'll get through. You're guaranteed to get in. A consultation is just that, that they're looking into it as far as what risk is the military taking on by hiring you as a recruit. What kind of medical bills or what kind of risk, long term would the military be responsible for by letting you in the military? It's just something that they have to address as a business, So it's never personal, but do they usually deny people? I don't know. It's up to those who are in that authority position to make that decision, in terms of, is this high risk? Is this something that we should take on? It's never black and white. It's always nuanced. Let's see. Do you feel like you think clearer when you express yourself on YouTube and making content worth the hassle in your eyes? Mustaf. I hope I said that correctly. That's an interesting name. Do I think clearer when I express myself on YouTube and is making content worth the hassle? So here's the thing about YouTube. When it comes to expressing myself from a military standpoint, but just as someone who is military personnel and is known to be military personnel, there's a certain amount of articulation I have to speak with and a level of intent that has to be on a certain level in order to remain within bounds of what I'm allowed to say. So there's definitely art to it to be able to get a point across without crossing lines. Now with that, I am able to express myself because I have worked on the art of speaking publicly or just speaking in general that allows me to express a thought, very articulately, get a point across, and stay within the bounds that the military has allotted, with the given amount of liberty, if you will. So over time, you'll notice, especially with the amount of reading I do, that your vocabulary just increases, that I'm able to express myself properly. And is making content worth it? 100%. 100%. One day that answer might change, but being able to see people's lives change, being able to see someone go from civilian to military, or just from where they're currently at, into a better place. Maybe they're more comfortable now, maybe they're more stable now, maybe their family's in a better position. And then to when they come back and say thank you, that does not get old. Also, just be able to document my life and seeing where I was 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, seeing my career progress over time and having that in video form, that is amazing. And then also, it's just an outlet. It's an amazing outlet to be able to create, especially when it comes to vlogs. Choosing music is probably the hardest part of the editing process. Once you actually learn how to edit, I predominantly use Final Cut Pro, and then on my phone I use InShot. It's just an Android app. Shout out Android. And yeah, I do a lot of my editing on my phone. So the short clips that I tend to post, those are edited directly on my phone. But when it comes to like the actual vlogs that I do, my playlist of vlogs, that's that's an art form for me, but it's also a release. It's an amazing outlet. Um, to that artistic side of me. So 100%, I love creating content. It does get tiresome at times, going live during the week when I have a course load, in ALS and just the long day, being up at 2:30 and going to the gym before I go to work and studying before I go to class. It's a whole thing. It's a whole thing. So sometimes I only have time to edit a 5-minute clip, post that, provide value as best I can, and then get back to, what I'm doing. But, times like this where I get through the thoughts of, do I want to go live today? Do I want to go answer questions? And you guys notice I typically put the live chat on members only, just so it limits the amount of traffic that comes through, because I want to provide value. But when you have a ton of people asking similar questions or the same questions, it does take a toll on you. You do reach a point on YouTube where I'm tired of answering the same questions. I'm tired of this lane. I'm tired of doing this. So, the humanity does appear at times, but days like this where the coffee's flowing, you hear me, we hear, I'm just in the mood, hop on and, provide value. So yeah, it's different. YouTube does, it comes in phases in terms of your energy and how you feel about it in the moment, but it's part of the process. Let's see. Mark Vargas, any advice for the consultation? If you're, be patient, be patient, be patient. Be ready, be prepared for either position or either decision, rather. Be ready. If they come back and say, yo, you're joining, come on, let's go. Will you be ready to leave tomorrow? Will you be scrambling, to get things in order? Address all chaos that's in your life. If you have bills that are due, pay them up as best you can. Get your savings account in a ready position. Get your family prepared that if you left tomorrow, they would not be, scrambling to figure things out. That's your job as the man of the household, is to leave your family in a good position that when you leave, they can still function properly. Same thing for single parents or women who are head of the households. Same thing. Leave your house in a place of order. It's like going on vacation. When you leave, the house should be clean, the bed should be made, bathroom should be clean. So when you come back, all you're doing is putting up clothes. You're just putting dirty clothes in the washroom. That's all you're addressing. You're not addressing filth and just chaos everywhere. Hope that helps. See what else we got. Is it possible I could be stationed in New York since I am from New York or New Jersey? Michael Chase, what's good? There's a great chance. It's a great chance. But you also have the same amount of chance of being stationed in Texas. Usually it comes down what you list on your wish list, and then the needs of the Air Force. It's really that simple. Also, it's just due to the amount of bases that we have. I'm not sure we have any active duty bases in New York, for Air Force rather, but you could be, stationed at Fort Drum, which is Army, but you can be stationed anywhere, for the most part. There are guard bases. If you really want to be stationed somewhere in particular, in one particular state, go guard, or reserves or whatnot. That will almost guarantee that you're in that state. But active duty, they can send you anywhere. Alaska, mercy. Ooh. Reality is strange. Don't play with me this morning. Why do you think you were born in this consciousness and not as another person or animal? See, this is why I wake up in the morning. It's for questions like this. You hear me? You see my energy just rose like heavy. Let's see. Why do you think you were born in this consciousness and not as another person or animal? Well, it's quite simple to me. because I don't believe I'm here by chance. If I were here by methods of the Big Bang, things just kind of going, and we don't know where the energy came from. We don't know where the stuff came from that exploded. If I was just here by methods of time, matter, and chance, then this question even would have no meaning. But the fact that I believe that I'm here intentionally, that I was designed and created because there was a problem on this earth that I was designed to solve. You're asking me a question, but I was here to answer that question. I was created for that purpose. This channel is here because I was designed and because I thought and because I had great intent with my thought process to provide value to other people. I'm not here by chance. Humans are not here by chance. We were talking about this in ALS, how humans are just so different than animals that it's not even close. We have military guard dogs and they go to war, but they don't come back and kill themselves because they're not dealing with the same complex issues of morality that we are. We are so much different than animals. It's not even close. So, why do you think I was born into this consciousness? It's because I was supposed to be. The same way you were asked that question. You chose to ask that question, and I'm choosing to answer that question. We have free will and the ability to choose what we do with our time. I believe that someone, meaning God, said, no, you will go to this planet and you will be who you are. You will think the way you think. You will provide value the way you provide value. You will have the ability to choose any decision you would like within, the realms of physics and time and what have you. But, your decisions are your own, and there are consequences that come because of your decisions. But what you do with your time determines what you get back from this universe. It's not by chance that I was placed here. And it's not by chance that you were, asking that question and I'm answering the question. So that's just my opinion. That's just my thought process. But I don't see chance the way a lot of people do. We are not just a matrix of what will or won't happen or what could happen. I believe that there's a level of cause and effect that happens in the universe. But when it comes to my everyday decision making, I'm choosing to be on live right now. Some could say, oh, no, you were always going to be on live. And it was just a matter of time, before you did get on live. What is my lit? I'm not about to play. I got some sidebar. I got some amazing sea salt I've been using. There. Oh, my goodness. This is irritating. There we go. So, yeah, hope they answer your question. I mean, the answer doesn't have a black and white answer. But I do believe I was here placed intentionally. And so I don't take that lightly. Neither should you. Nigel asks, I have trouble standing up for myself. I always let things pass in order to not complain about anything, but much to my detriment. How do I change this habit? I want to be able to stand up for others. That's a very interesting position that you're in. You have the will to stand up for someone else, but you can't stand up for yourself. Let's see. How should I start with that? Well, first of all, you need to ask yourself the question, why do I have the unwillingness to stand up for myself? What is that barrier between you and confrontation? Confrontation is a seed for change. Anything you tolerate will not change. Anything that you deem normal will not change. It's an issue. And believe it or not, it's gonna seep into other areas of your life, meaning wherever there is chaos that you have not confronted that chaos, whether it be another person who is, dare I say, bullying you, or, they bring an energy to you and you won't confront them, that's an issue. That's definitely an issue. It starts with the small things. Confidence comes from action, taking action and being victorious. So let's start simple. And we've already mentioned Jordan Peterson. Clean your room. Start with your own life before you go out into the world and try to confront other people and say, hey, you're wrong, don't do that, you shouldn't have talked to me that way. No, you start home and deal with the chaos in your own life. Did I go to the gym today? Is my room a mess? Is my bed made? Is my bathroom clean? Is my credit score a muck? Do I have bills due that I haven't paid? How much time am I spending watching TV versus, learning something? Have I enjoyed myself today? Have I planned my fun? Have I planned my relationships? Have I spoken to someone I love today? You start with addressing the chaos in your own life. And then when you go out into the world, your confidence will be on 10, mainly because you're coming from a place of stability. Mentally, physically, spiritually, you are prepared to tackle the world because your home is in order. That's the place to start. That's the foundation of adulthood, is addressing chaos in your life. So then when you go out into the world and somebody sends for you, you're ready for them. And then you'll be able to stand up for others because you stood up for yourself. You have no business trying to defend anyone else if you cannot defend yourself. You have no business trying to save someone else from drowning if you cannot swim, if you're not on a boat yourself. If you're drowning, you can't save anyone else from drowning. It's admirable that you want to, be that person for other people, but you need to commit to yourself first. Build yourself up first. It's like me being a tutor and I'm stupid or I'm unprepared or I'm unlearned, I'm unread. Start with home first, address the chaos in your own life, then go out into the world and be that person for someone else. It always starts with yourself. Accountability is starting with yourself first. Hope that helps. Do you work, says Raw, do you work or interact with people in the Army and other branches in the Air Force? Yes, I do. In my class, our class shirt or class first sergeant is Tech P, and we have another member who's in our flight, my flight, Falcon flight, who is Tech P as well, and they work directly with the Army. That's the purpose of their AFSC, is to communicate directly with the Army and their leadership to communicate Air Force terminology and the logistics with our aircraft is what TACP is. TACP, Tactical Air Control Party is what it stands for. Very interesting job. But personally, yes, I work with the Army, not directly, but just as finance personnel, I have the ability to look up the Army military pay record. So let's say you're Army, you walk into Air Force Finance. If I have the proper access, I can look at your pay record, mainly because the Army uses the same pay record system that the Air Force does. However, albeit be outdated, I do have the ability to see Army pay records. Now, day to day, do I work with other branches? Yes and no. I work with Canadian Air Force. That's about as close as my day-to-day life is. And currently, while I'm in ALS, no, there's no Army or any other branch represented. But logistically, yes, I do work with other branches. Where do you see yourself in 5 years that helps society advance? Jasmine Johnson asks. I skipped a question. How many questions did I skip? Oh, he's speaking to his future airman. Oh, yeah. Start with home, Nigel. Jasmine Johnson, what are your goals and aspirations for life right now? My goals and aspirations for life right now is to max out my effort in my 24 hours. There are a lot of that are mainly long term. A lot of people ask me if I'm staying in the military. Do I plan on doing 20 years? Do I plan on retiring? And the answer today, right now, at December 5th, 12:25 p.m. is yes, I plan on retiring, doing the full 20 and getting that retirement to add to my passive income, such as YouTube, podcasting, private, the one-on-one consultations, things like that. So I plan on doing basically just getting the independent or passive income basically from the military after doing the 20 years, but also networking along the way and run into opportunities that may take me a different path. But my plan today, right now, is to do 20 years. Now, my aspirations, my long-term goals is to be free from a 9 to 5, to be free from having to be somewhere on Monday morning. I want to wake up, look at the map, point, and go. Grab a suitcase the size of a book bag, fill it up with some clothing, my camera, my laptop, iPad, and go. Just go. I want the ability to travel without a ton of baggage, without a 9 to 5 to check into, without a laptop because I got to check my email. No, no, that's my long term, end of life, end of retirement type goals. A lot more that goes into that, but currently that's my current plan. Whether that involves a wife or a family, that's to be determined as of right now. Where do you see yourself in 5 years that helps society advance? Hopefully my YouTube is bigger. I do have some plans to maybe branch off into a different or another YouTube channel that is more universally relevant, more philosophy based or more news or like current events based. Obviously, that kind of runs into my abilities while I'm in the military because there's certain things that I would like to talk about and I have a ton of knowledge on or perspective on or opinions on that is just hard to talk about. I have to like dance around and be perfectly politically correct, and it's just it's diminishing returns. It's not as fulfilling. But currently, YouTube being able to help people navigate the recruiting process or just navigate the military as a whole, and being successful with the small things. That's my current plan. 5 years, just build this channel into the ability to help people, and obviously get a return on investment. The money is not bad. I'm not here to cap and say that I'm not here for the money. I'm not here to make money. I'm not here to be, successful with whatever I choose to do. That's not it. But with that, I want to help people, and this is one way I'm able to do that. It may branch off into public speaking. Who knows? Or whole business attached to it. I don't know that yet. I have a lot of plans, a lot of directions I could go with this, but currently, as it sits, we'll just keep doing what we're doing, navigating the military personally, because of course I have to be successful myself. So that's a thing. But yeah, my goals: get overseas, get stationed overseas at some point, and stay overseas if I can, because the vlogs would just the vlog footage would be amazing. But also build this channel. Maybe branch into a different channel. Maybe do a full podcast, not just the audio from these videos, but actually a full podcast. Who knows? Who knows? That's a good question, Jasmine. Alma asks, do I believe in God, Elohim? And indeed I do. Indeed I do. I think it's more difficult to not believe in God based on the evidence that is available to us. Do I believe in God? Well, let's just touch it real quick. I'm not going to go too deep into it, but do I believe in God? Well, a couple questions that you could ask in place of that question. If you walking through the forest, such as Alaska, walking through the wilderness, and you see a watch, would you pause at the idea that someone invented or someone created that watch? And in most cases, 99% of the time, someone would respond with, yes, watches don't occur naturally in the forest or in the wilderness. We don't come across watches that are a result of, a seed being planted. No. If you came across an iPhone without knowledge of the company Apple, you just saw a random iPhone, you will pause at the fact that somebody left it behind, somebody lost it, somebody made it and placed it there intentionally. But we know what occurs naturally based on our surroundings. Now, the question has to be asked, and I mean, science struggles with this. It's the study of cosmology. We have a whole world here. We have all these devices, and we have intelligent beings, subjectively humans walking around, and we got animals, and we interact, and we create, and we build, and we plant, and we sow, and we harvest, and we eat, and we digest, and all this, everything's connected. Everything seems to work out, within a certain level of order. Gravity is predictable. Gravity doesn't change day to day. It's the same negative 9.8 meters per second. It does not change. Albeit we're getting pulled into the sun slowly. It was like 1 inch a year, and Jupiter is moving away, or a lot. Physics, science. It's a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff. We struggle with morality, and we struggle with love and deception and loyalty and cheating, and it's a whole thing. But the question remains: how do we get here? How do we tell right from wrong? What gives my life meaning? What gives your life meaning? And where do we go when we the The reasons I believe in God are for the same reasons I believe in the inventor of the Ford automobile. Ford. The agency and the mechanism, they go together. We have Elon Musk, we have Tesla. To say that that Elon Musk doesn't exist because we have Tesla does not make sense. So that's what science tries to prove. Science looks at, well, we have an Earth, but to say that God put Earth here disproves science. No. God would be the agency, the person, the mind, the intelligence, and then we have the creation of Earth. But to say that one doesn't exist, it's almost like saying, does Hamlet disprove the existence of Shakespeare? No, they make up the explanation. There's more than one way to explain something. So to say Elon Musk is here, therefore we have a Tesla, that makes sense. So when I look at Earth and I look at the intelligent beings walking around, we have humans everywhere. We have iPhones and all this technology. That's the creation. It's beautiful. We miss the mark constantly with war and history. You look at the 20th century, it's a mess. It's a mess. But then you look at the agency behind it, the author who gave us the ability to choose. And yes, we do make bad decisions, the wrong decisions. Sometimes we make the right decisions. Sometimes we show kindness. Sometimes we give and we love and we show affection and whatnot. It's a huge dance and it's a lot. What is to exist? But at the end of the day, we're still stuck with those 4 questions. How do I get here? God put me here. God designed me intentionally. He designed my mind, the way I think. He had a will for my life, and I still I have the ability to choose. But ultimately, He placed me here to solve a problem. How do I tell right from wrong? He decides, because if I decide, I might think that murdering you is okay. You might think that murdering me is okay. Which one of us is right? It can't be one of us on Earth that decides right from wrong. It has to be somebody outside of this universe that decides right from wrong, who is objective while we're being subjective. And I think this is okay to do that. I think it's okay to cheat on you. You think it's okay to cheat on me. And then what gives my life meaning? I was designed intentionally. The meaning of something is usually discovered within the design. The meaning of a hammer? Well, look at the design of it. It's designed to hammer. The purpose of it is to hammer nails. Sin is violation of the purpose. So if I use a hammer to brush my teeth, I violated the purpose of that hammer. It's not doing what it was designed to do. Humans, what are we designed to do? That's an amazing question. That's a whole nother video. Why are we here? But again, that's up to the individual to go in search of. And then lastly, where do we go when we die? Don't be wrong. That's a whole question to answer. It's a whole, if you're wrong, what are the ramifications? What are the consequences of being wrong about the answer? Now, I'm not here to make anybody believe anything. I say go in search of the answers. Those 4 basic questions. Again, how do I get here? How do I tell right from wrong? What gives my life meaning? And where do I go when I die? That is up to you, the individual, to go in search of. And for me, there's one answer. It makes sense. It's logically coherent. All the answers integrate together to form a path for me. It's my path. I'm not saying what you should do, but that's just me. Let's see. This is May. You are showing love. You're gonna blow up huge someday. You know what? You're too kind. Bless you. Bless you. I hope I'm ready if that day ever comes. Just pray I'm ready. Dom Kusia, plan on joining. But what are the odds of getting an intelligence job? I've taken practice ASVABs and got above 85 both times. Hope you're doing well and continue to grow. I am always checking out the bids or even station you want. Moving to Alaska was quite a change for you, and I doubt you had much say in it. So the chances of getting an intelligence job, it really just comes down to the recruiter that you have. It comes down to the needs of the Air Force. It comes down to, again, as you mentioned, your ASVAB score, whether or not you qualify for it. Intelligence jobs. Do they base it off your credit or external factors that could influence you not being able to do the job properly. So they don't want somebody who's, $30,000 in debt, or $100,000 in debt, or $1,000,000 in student loan. Like they don't want the wrong person in position that might compromise them from doing the proper job. It's a lot of factors that go into it. So to give you a percentage, I don't have that for you. But again, if that's something you're interested in, go in pursuit of it. Proof of desire is in pursuit. So a lot of factors that go into it. It does come down to some amount of luck. That's why I always put emphasis on the ability to cross-train. Sign a 4-year contract, get your foot in the door in terms of the Air Force. You may not get a job you want initially. Try to get the job you want initially. If you don't, get your foot in the door, and you can cross 2.5 years, depending on whether or not there's a ton of red tape of you getting out. Because some jobs, once you're in, they're trying to lock you, and it'll be very difficult, such as a lot of the flying jobs, the 1A, the 1 Alpha AFSCs. It's very difficult, if not impossible, to get out those career fields because they're already critically manned. So just keep that in mind, that some jobs, once you get in, it's like a padlock to get out. But for the rest of the career fields, for the most part, cross-training is available to you within your cross-training window. Or if you're going to a critically manned career field, you may be able to get out earlier. Again, all this information tends to be available on the, My Purse and whatnot on the Air Force portal. But again, you have to get your foot in the door to get access to those resources. So it's just something to think about. Daryl Green was good. What is good? Man, we got a lot of questions. May, do I watch the Joe Rogan podcast? I may have heard of it. Daryl Green, yes, indeed. Let's make this a deep conversation. I enjoy musings and the like. What is a fair society? A utopia where all things being equal, everyone values the same thing for the same reasons at the same time. That's my opinion on it. Yeah, fair society does not exist. I don't think we want to live in a world where that existed. Simple answer. Lauren Anderson asks, what else would you choose to do if you felt it was necessary to separate from the Air Force instead of retiring? Also, do you believe you found your purpose yet, or is that a work in progress? Very interesting question. Very interesting question. Ooh, y'all cutting corners trying to DM me on Instagram while I'm on live. Jasmine, you know better than that. Let's see. What else would you do, or choose rather, to do if you felt it was necessary to separate from the Air Force instead of retiring? I will probably move to a country where their currency is not as valuable as ours and continue to do YouTube full time. I'll start probably a couple other YouTube channels. I would do music full time. I would probably practice piano more. I would go further into photography. I would dive further into the digital, marketing and the digital business world. I don't know. I'll probably go into contracting for the military. There are various bases around the world, or air bases rather, or just locations where a contracted individual, if I clearance, which I do currently, they see that as huge value because it costs money to get a security clearance. So I would use that to go directly into contracting and go to Abu Dhabi or Iraq or somewhere and work for the government, getting paid top dollar to do what I already do now or do something similar. But yeah, plenty of options, especially when you're someone like myself who values options. I put a lot of focus and keep my overhead low, keep my bills low. I don't have a family. I don't have kids. I don't have kids everywhere by different people. I don't have a lot of baggage with me. So I'm very agile right now in my life, where I can pretty much make a decision in the spare of a moment and be able to thrive in that moment. So yeah, that's probably what I'll do. I'll probably go contracting or go to Philippines or Vietnam or something and live on the beach and live off YouTube. Start another channel. Also, do you believe you found your purpose yet, or is that a work in progress? I definitely believe I've found my purpose. It's mainly just in the way I think, the way I see the world. Apparently, a lot of people see value in the way I think. You typically put stimuli into the universe and you get a reaction. And that's what I've noticed, that I get reactions that are positive in nature. People value what I think and the way I think. And I'm able to solve problems because of that, because I'm different and I'm unique. I was designed this way. So yeah, my purpose revolves around my design. the way I think. Some people might think of me as neurotic and boring and too analytical and too over the top, and you can't relax. And it's not true. I'm a goofy dude. Like, people just don't see that side of me, because when I go on YouTube and people ask me a question like, mystery man, like, what is your definition of love? My energy rises when I hear a question like that. Like, that is, I love tackling and dismantling and reducing that question that seems difficult into just the simplest 1 + 1 = 2 that other people can understand. I enjoy teaching. I enjoy tackling a problem or a dilemma or, a riddle. It's just, it's my makeup. It's the way I think. It's the way I design. So that is my purpose. My purpose is to solve problems, and using the tools that I have by default and I have developed over time and through reading and through researching. That's what I enjoy doing. And so with that, I'm able to solve problems around me. And when you solve problems in the universe, there is usually and tends to be a reward, monetary reward. You solve a problem for somebody, such as going to McDonald's and flipping burgers, they pay you $7 based off the problem you solve. If I go to Clear and I manage the budget, they give me about 50, 60 grand a year to do so. So that's how you know your worth in a given society, is based off the problem that you solve on a daily basis. Your worth is not your value. Now, that may come down to semantics in terms of your understanding of that statement, but your personal value, that might be a lot higher. Like, your value as a human is different than your value as an employee. Those are two different things. A lot of people can't tell the difference, but hope that answers your question. I could have went all day on that. Now, mystery man, what's good? What is your definition of love? My definition of love is giving. To go even further, without expectation. To give until you hurt. To give to another. What is the ultimate representation of love? Sacrifice. To be more specific, to sacrifice your own life is the ultimate expression of love. You look at the Bible, Christianity, what is the ultimate expression of love? Jesus giving his own life for someone else. So when I tell someone, when I tell my girlfriend or somebody, I love you. When I tell my mom, I love you. When I tell my brother, my friends, I love you. That's what I'm telling you that I'm willing to do for you. It's an action. Love is expressed daily through acts of kindness, by giving. And the one thing that gives love any value is the ability to choose. If I don't have free will, and if I'm obligated, if I'm forced to, if I'm enslaved to you, meaning I have to love you, I have to give something to you, I have to spend time with you, that's not love anymore. That's slavery. If I don't have free will, there is no value in what I do for you. If I'm married to you, that means I can't just up and leave you. I can't just walk away. I have to hire a lawyer. You have to have a lawyer. I have to talk to a judge before I can walk away. Is that love? Or is that a business transaction? I don't know. But if I'm dating you, interesting. If I could leave tomorrow, but I choose not to. I could cheat on you today, but I choose not to. Is that love? I have a choice. That's what gives it value when I show up tomorrow, and I show up today, and I haven't betrayed you. That's a whole different game. I don't want to get started on marriage. Great question, mystery man. Noah responds, 12 Rules for Life is a great read. I 100% agree. I'm still trying to read it twice. I have it on my audiobooks. I tend to read books a couple times before I can probably digest it, but he makes a lot of good points in that book. Chris Smithtown responds, do you think that post 9/11 bill will last forever with all the debt? I don't know. I would say use it if you value that. Use it. Don't wait for the answer to be made known. If you value education, go in pursuit of that. Breadwinner Association. How do you deal with negative coworkers that disrespect you in the Air Force, and how do you approach them without being belligerent? How do you deal with negative coworkers that disrespect you in the Air Force? Let me see the way I would do it, because of course I'm different. You see me, I'm different out here. How do I deal with disrespect? If I have to see them every day, if I have to work next to them, if I have to be in the same environment with them, a couple things will happen. My words will decrease to almost zero. My words decrease. My actions become efficient, meaning I'm doing what I'm required to do in this given environment. Adaptation is the willingness to do what you are required to do in order to remain in a given environment, meaning there's authority in place in a given environment, and I am doing what I'm required to do, what I'm hired to do, solving the problem that I was hired to address. Meaning the people that you're around, they don't need to be addressed when it comes to solving problems unless you're solving that problem together. So my words go to zero. Zero. I'm not talking. I'm not running my mouth. I'm asking questions. We are trying to solve this problem. Now, when I leave the environment, I can be myself. I can relax. I can let my hair down. But when it comes to a given environment where there are people that you cannot trust, your words should be almost nothing. Just hush, work, get the job done. When it comes to outright, overt disrespect, someone is coming at me. They bring me energy. They're trying to. they brought me work. Then we address it with silence. Silence. Again, not everything demands that you respond equally. Wisdom. What does wisdom tell you when someone is angry? Well, first of all, anger is energy requiring appropriate focus. So you realize that if somebody's angry at you, or if they're bringing you a certain amount of energy that in this current environment, perfect example, if you're and someone swings at you, what should you do? Get away from them. Get away from them. Even if you have the ability to whoop on them and take their life, get away from them, because fighting, a physical engagement, altercation will not end well for either one of you. You're both, you have to explain yourself to security forces. You're probably going to be arrested. There tends to not be any negotiation in that area when it comes to certain levels of engagement. Wisdom tells you this is the rules of engagement for this environment, and I need to stay under that. So disrespect, it's hard to avoid, especially when it comes from above you. If your leadership is disrespecting you, this is where you enter silence, documentation mode, email everything, document everything, but practice being right at the same time. Make sure you're in the right. Make sure you're not on 10 with, I'm always late for work. I'm failing in this area. I'm not doing my job. I'm not competent enough to remain in this environment. Practice being right. Practice being right to make sure that you're in the right when it comes to certain areas of your life. We're going to take a short little break while I go relieve myself in my endocrine system. Be right back. Y'all stand by. 28 watching. Everything happens on my wedding day. And sing a song. I sing. I hate rushing through streams because I have to use the bathroom. Like I absolutely, like, part of me is telling me, all right, just stop the video and you can just move on to something else, and go use the bathroom and then enjoy the rest of the day. But no. So yeah, just to finish off that question, in terms of disrespect, it's very difficult to deal with. 100%, facts. It's your job to become evasive, become a moving target, become someone who is untouchable, meaning you're doing your job, you're competent, you know what you're talking about, you're on time, you're operating within the bounds of authority, the liberties that you've been granted. You're doing what you're supposed to be doing in that given environment. You're adapting to the environment. You are you're on 10. Nobody can touch you. And then beyond that, you document. Anything you send, anything you say, anywhere you go, there's documentation. The video I made on addressing toxic leadership. We start with accountability first. That's the first step to any altercation is accountability. What am I doing wrong? Somebody cheats on me. You're not in the wrong, but start with accountability. Somebody disrespects you. Stop. Accountability. What am I doing wrong? What should I be doing? Where should I be right now? What is my purpose for being in this environment? Is my job being accomplished? You start with yourself first. How do you approach them without being, belligerent, as you put it? You don't. You don't. Again, you become a moving target. You stay away from them. Easier said than done. I get it. You might be working in cubicles. You might be working in the same environment. You might be working right next to them. It's your job to become evasive. It's your job to just tunnel vision. This is why I'm here. This is why I'm in this environment. This is my goal that I'm here to accomplish. And that's all I'm here for. That's it. And you stay in your lane until something changes. You document, of course. If you need to raise it to leadership, do so. If you need to raise it to your supervisor, do so. I'm not saying, just tolerate it for endless amounts of time. But first, start with home, accountability. What should I be doing in this given moment? And then from there, you raise it to the next level if need be. Supervisor, leadership. If it still doesn't happen, there's always the IG office. Again, I'm speaking in military terms because I know most of you are dealing with the military environment. But again, there's levels. But it always starts with you, with yourself. Accountability. Hope that helps. You're welcome, Nigel. You're welcome. Let's see. Noah asks, have you met any PJs? I have not. Mystery Man asks, any good book recommendations? Anytime anybody asks me that question, I will always point you to Robert Greene books. Every time. Robert Greene books. To date, he is my favorite author. I haven't read a ton of books. I tend to read the same books over and over again. But to date, he is my favorite author by far. Any book by Robert Greene. My favorite, Art of Seduction. To date, my favorite book. XJBX responds with investments, multiple streams of income while in the Air Force. My favorite being YouTube. You get paid to have an opinion. You get paid to travel. You get paid to talk about products. You get paid to talk about what you enjoy, whether it be sports or whatever. YouTube is a great starting point for just passive income because mainly, if you look at the potential you have for YouTube, it's endless. I have the same potential to become MKBHD as you do right now. I may be 10,000 subscribers ahead. There are people that pass me with one single video because the algorithm, the product that you're talking about, the audience, they decide who wins. So it's really not, black and white in terms of, starting today or tomorrow or whatever you're talking about or, personalities or looks or what have you. It's up to your consistency and the problem you solve. So, of course, YouTube is my favorite. There's always TSP in terms of investment. You can go to Vanguard and get a Roth IRA tomorrow and invest in that, consistently. Podcasting is a great platform to start. You go to Anchor today, download Anchor on your phone, and post audio clips. Podcast done. It's on Spotify. It's on iTunes. It's everywhere. There are plenty of options in terms of passive income sources. You can start with real estate. Again, there's so many options. Pick something that you can do consistently and stay there. Change, adjust. But being consistent is the main thing. I cannot pronounce your name, but you said you love my channel, and I appreciate you. I'll give you some love. I appreciate you. Reality is strange. Getting rid of my smartphone for 2 years and stocking up on books on philosophy, wisdom, ancient teachings, etc. will change my way of thinking and how I move in life on a day-to-day basis. Well, first of all, a simple answer to your question will be yes. It will 100% change the way you move in life. Everything about you will change if you get rid of the phone. Now, will that be negative or positive? That's relative, to the individual. A lot of people see the cell phone as just the enemy, and part of me believes that. Part of me thinks that the cell phone could one day come back to bite us all in the rear buttocks. The abilities of the cell phone, who has access to it, the information that it collects, whether or not it's listening to us around the clock. The cell phone is different, but it's invaluable. It's an amazing device. It solves amazing problems. The problems that used to be such a huge, mountain to climb. Imagine deploying without a cell phone, deploying without a Wi-Fi. I could not imagine it being possible. There's certain abilities that it has granted us, because of the problem it solved and because of, honestly, our laziness. Because any one of us could go out and learn how to read a map. But if you have a cell phone that has ways, it's just, hey, turn left, turn right, go here. We all have questions, but we have Google Assistant. I can ask any question and get an answer now. Those abilities, they have great value. Now, here's my answer to your question, Mystery Man. Why not do both? Why would you have to get rid of the cell phone in order to read these teachings and read, the poets and these amazing writers and whatnot? I don't believe you have to choose between the two. But if that's the path you choose, if you want to go full monk mode and go all out and, just dive into the teachings and the scrolls and what have you, and just go search of what could be truth, by all means. Just know that there are consequences to not having a cell phone. Same way, like when I go hiking in the middle of the wilderness in Alaska and I don't have cell phone service, you feel that pressure of if something did pop off, if a bear popped out on your boy, good luck. So there's certain consequences of not having a cell phone in 2020. But as long as you're aware and if that's the path you choose, it could be amazingly beneficial. I would love to know what you discover on your 2 years of no cell phone and just nothing but books. I would love to have a conversation with you and just dive into your newfound truths and what have you. Michael Chase asks, how long can a green card holder with a degree be an officer? I don't know what you're attempting to ask. How long can a green card holder with a degree be an officer? I'm not sure. If you're asking that, or if you're basically saying that you have a green card and a degree, and you want to become an officer, talk to a recruiter. Talk to a recruiter. That's the first step. Mystery Man says there has to be a creator of the world. Facts. I agree. Deductive conclusion. Vanna Wang says, should I do ROTC? Do green to gold? I don't have a lot of context on ROTC. I just don't. It just kind of turned out the way. I understand it's a path to becoming an officer. That's pretty much all I know about it. There's one officer at Clear. He just got to the base. He's a space officer. And he explained how he went through the process. It was very similar to college life, except you just have different parameters that you have to operate within. You have PT days, or you have a chain of command that you report to, and it's different. And then of course you have that mandatory amount of time that you have to serve after your college is paid for and what have you. So it's probably the best way in terms of becoming an officer. If you want to end up in the military and serve, do a full career, and you want your education paid for, I think it's a perfect path to do so, to get kind of the both and experience of college, and you get the military, and you get a return on investment on your degree. Why not? I'm not sure what you mean by green and gold, but if that sounds like it might be relevant to the process or the path of becoming an officer. But I think ROTC is a great program. I would probably do it in hindsight. If I had the chance of doing the military over, I would go ROTC. I would go to college. Yeah. Go for it, Mrs. Wang. I see you. Mario Angelo says, what do you know about the CCAF? It's equivalent to associate's degree, more or less. It's the Air Force equivalent of a degree. I believe it's required to make Master's Sergeant now. As of I believe as of about a year or two ago, it's a requirement for Master's Sergeant. But yeah, it's just the Air Force equivalent of associate's degree, more or less. You can get it easily by just taking CLEPs or taking tests basically to in place of taking the full classes. Or if you already have enough credits, a lot of people walk into the military with the CCF, typically in hand already because of their previous college experience. Or you can just take classes the normal way while you're in the military, while serving, and get the actual CCF. But yeah, a lot of people value that, so just get the credits, get the CCF. Adrian Wolf is using foul language. Yeah, bro, they flagged your comment. I was like, bro, let him talk, bro. He asked, why don't Air Force recruiters answer the phone? The same reason I don't answer the phone. Many people try to call me, and I don't answer my phone. If you text me, I'll respond in seconds. I don't answer DMs anymore because it's just too many of y'all. I finally reached a point which it is kind of a achievement of sorts where you finally reach a point where your channel's grown to a certain point, and then I just don't have the time to answer every single DM that I have anymore. I don't look at them anymore. It's just too many of y'all. That's why I set up one-on-one consultations. You can book 15 minutes with me. We can talk one-on-one, discuss your issue. That's pretty much it. If you're a member on the channel, you'll have some access to me that's just a little bit more advantageous. But unless it's a method like this where I'm doing a live chat or a live ask me anything, or if you know me personally, if we ever meet in person, of course I'll gladly give out my number. We can definitely talk. Or if you book a session, yeah, that's reason. It's just it takes a lot of time. Here's one way to think about the phone. And of course, I'm not saying that recruiters should not answer the phone. I'm just giving you some reasonings of why they might not answer the phone. If somebody calls you, to me, I interpret that as you have something planned for me without consulting me first. That's why I see the phone in general. If you call my phone unannounced, it's like you came to my door and knocked. And I'm like, bro, I know you in there, talk to me real quick and do what I want you to do right now. That's why I see the phone. But if you text me, I can choose when I respond, as opposed to you calling me and I respond now. So that's just my perspective on the phone. Recruiters are obviously in a position where they should be answering the phone. But again, they don't have to. So again, effort. The booking session I had yesterday, the one-on-one session I had yesterday, she had the same issue. As far as she gets responses on the text messages, but the phone calls, it's hit and miss, and the communication tends to be lagging. It's kind of slow. It's part of the process. So definitely inconvenient, but that's recruiters for you. That's the military at large for you. Have I started reading Plutarch yet? I have not. It's on my list. I have books everywhere. Trust me. Aflix says you are a virtual mentor. Hey, that's love. That's love. Trying to provide value. I have a lot of virtual mentors myself, so I feel honored for you to even call me that, the virtual mentor of yours. So much love. YBK Rocket says, I'm going to talk to a recruiter very soon. Any tips? Watch my videos on the rules of engagement of dealing with a recruiter, how you should dress, how you should speak in terms of questions, not so much just running your mouth, but asking questions, relevant questions, being prepared, being in shape. I'm not saying to be an athlete when you go, but you should be on track to being an athlete, being prepared for that conversation. Have questions prepared, have a direction in mind, but most of all, listening, not running your mouth, but listening to their words. That's the key to their intent. But yeah, go check those videos out. Daryl Green asks, what harsh truths do you prefer to ignore? That's a good question. What harsh truths do you prefer to ignore? I prefer to ignore truths when it revolves around the death of someone I love. the reality where we live in. You know, if we're honest with ourselves, we acknowledge that everyone we now know will one day die. And shame on you, Mr. Daryl Green, for taking this whole conversation down a couple notches. But it's a harsh truth to acknowledge the fact that, you know, people that we see every day, friends, family, coworkers, you know, our bosses, we will all one day die. And, you know, it's something we have to address daily in terms of, you know, our effort. And it's not always comfortable to you know, deal with, you know, that reality. I personally have a great fear of loss. It's something I have to deal with every single day. It's why I document. It's why I record moments and take 5-minute clips and or 5-second clips of my coworkers, my family, and my everyday life. It's why I love documenting. Is because those moments are, once they come and go, they're gone. They're gone. And so we have to live in the moment. And again, it's not always easy. Shout out to my mom who's in the chat right now. Me and her relationship, it's tough. It's a harsh truth to realize that I don't talk to her as much as I want to or should. It's a harsh truth that I am not the best son in the world. I do the best I can. You know, harsh truth. I want to have children. I do not want to get married. That's a whole 10-hour video right there. Harsh truth. I want to have children. I want a son. I do not want to marry anyone that has access to Instagram, Snapchat, Facebook, the internet, smartphone. No. Anyone who's ever listened to Meg Thee Stallion, Cardi B, Nicki Minaj, I will not attach my social security number to you. Pass, man. It's not happening. But that's a harsh truth that I prefer not to acknowledge on a daily basis. I don't want to wake up and think about the fact that if I want a son, I should be married. I need to be married if I have children. You know, the facts that, or the reality that I just don't have certain rights in the current world when it comes to having children. It's just reality. So that list could be endless, honestly, to tell you the truth. You know, fear of loss and the reality of death. The fact that some days I wish there wasn't a God. Honestly, I wish I could just do whatever I wanted and have no consequences. I wish this world was ran by chance and matter and time, and that there was no authority in reality. That we are here just by chance, and whatever happens, happens, and the fittest survive, and the strong rule. I wish, but it's not true. At least in my own world, in my own life, in my own decision making. So, great question there. Oh my goodness, that's a great question. Daryl Green, me, you need to connect. Your questions reveal a lot about you. Coco J says she wants to see the goofy side of me. Watch your mouth, first of all. Yeah, a lot of people just don't realize how different I am. That this side of me, that this question answering or this rambling, tangent enjoying person that you see on the internet, it's just not me. This is just how what you're experiencing right now is the way I think. It's the way I think. Everything down to the way that the set is set up, this camera, this lamp, this backdrop, everything is this is the way I think. So when I project myself, this is just my thoughts. But the person of Isiah Ray, I'm different. I'm different. You know, I love joking around. I love satire and sarcasm, and yeah, just different. I mean, my vlogs, that's the way I think. Music video style vlogs, that's the way I think. That's not who I am. Daryl Green, what do you mean by modern relationships don't work? I watched the video, but I want you to explain it more. I plan on doing a follow video to that. I don't want to get into it on this live, but modern relationships in terms of anything that is any relationship that occurs during the smartphone era, to me, is a modern relationship. Yeah. Modern relationships are dusty nowadays, and woe to those who engage in a relationship while someone else has access to the internet. No, people are so focused on themselves, mirrors, selfies, me, I deserve, I'm entitled to, I want. It's all it's all me. It's all, hey, focus on me. Hey, I'm gonna take this pic. Look at me. Look at me. I don't know where you fit a relationship in there. So yeah, I'll have to do a follow up video on that. Or if you would like to book a session, we can definitely rap. We definitely talk. And my mom's in the chat. Hey son, I love you. Question: what is the most precious positive quality you took away from your raising? That's a very good question. My mother asks, what is the most precious positive quality you took away from your raising? That is a very good question. I would say it's the fact that I can hear your voice in every moment of my existence. When I tell you in our conversations that I know you, I know what you would say in almost any situation I enter. When I go hiking, I can hear you say, please, blood Jesus. You know, you can always call on, I can hear your voice in every situation. For that matter, I can hear my dad's voice and everything. I hear, Pops, keep your nose clean. But also the fact that you stayed home. You stayed home. It's when I think about choosing a wife, when I think about choosing, someone to marry, I will want that sacrifice for my children as far as having someone always at home. But I found a solution in terms of living in progressive era where women want to work too, and I don't enjoy 9 to 5. If we both have passive income, neither one of us has to work, in the sense that we're leaving to go work a 9 to 5 for someone else. It's just my new approach to, no one has to put their career on hold for the sake of the children. We can both be at home because we both have passive income. Just a thought. But yeah, my most precious positive quality is just the fact that I can hear your advisement, your wisdom in every moment. I'm never without wisdom in my head when it comes to what will mom think, because you've given us a bountiful surplus of information, just in the way that you raised us. The fact that we all 4 of your children, none of us have a criminal record. None of us have, gotten off the deep end. None of us are alcoholics or drug addicts. None of us are millionaires, but again, we're all talented in our own ways. We all have a great mind on our shoulders. You give us a clean slate to start adulthood with. Think about how valuable that is in 2020 to be able to graduate. I graduated high school in 2011, and I have every option available to me. I'm not starting adulthood with a criminal record. I'm not starting with children out of wedlock every place. So yeah, the way you raised us, nowadays it's invaluable. It's invaluable, and for that I'm definitely grateful. Oh my! And the next question is definitely a hard hitter. Do you believe gender roles exist? If so, what are they? See, this is what we're not about to do, is get canceled on the weekend, because I definitely have an opinion. I have to think about a way I can express that. Yeah, I definitely will be doing it on live, because the video of, I probably won't even be able to answer that question unless I know you in person. We talk personally, one-on-one session, or if I'm, yeah, I probably have to be out of the military, do a one-on-one session or a personal conversation to answer that. We'll leave it alone for now. It's too much. Shout out to, yeah, Chicago. What's up, Kasia? Hope I said that correctly. I've never had Chicago pizza. I've had New York pizza. Shout out Artichoke, New York City, Manhattan. Yeah, never had a Chicago pizza. Never been to Chicago. Well, that's a lie. I've been to Chicago. I've been in Amtrak station of Chicago. Never been outside of that. So It's on my bucket list. Mystery Man is trying to get me in trouble again. What is your opinion on the red pill? Y'all, these controversial questions. I'm not going to tank this channel. You hear me? I definitely have taken a red pill. I'll say that. I have taken multiple red pills. My opinion on the red pill is I believe it, but I keep it categorized properly in my life. Meaning I don't operate fully on the teachings of people who are angry. You know, when I think about the red pill, I look for evidence of it in my everyday life, in my previous life. You know, I believe I've made one video on this channel on what I believe the red pill is, and I defined it as truth. It's just the truth of what is in this world, whether it be the nature of humans, male or female. What is the truth about our existence and our tendencies as humans? I believe it, but I limit it to what I find evidence of. So again, I'm not the person to jump into a marriage. I'm not the person to jump into a relationship. I'm not the person to be naive. I'm the last person to just put trust anywhere or loyalty anywhere based on you kissed me or you smiled at me. Or you had no. I am a person who believes that relationship is the exchange of value and that it happens over a span of time. And I 100% believe that everyone, and this is the most controversial statement that most people hear from me, everyone has a price for compromise. Everyone has a price to betray you. Everyone will betray you for the right price. Someone you know right now that you love and care about would betray you for the right price. That price may be billions, trillions, who knows? Hopefully, we don't ever have to find out. But that's the nature that I believe to be in human beings, that we say one thing, but we tend to do another. And so when it comes to relationship, when it comes to marriage, when it comes to, interaction between the sexes, genders, what have you, I look for evidence of it. And when I see evidence of it, I take a note. And so, yeah, I'm one of those people that got no love in high school. I'm one of those people that was a late bloomer when it comes to, losing my virginity, the whole nine. But yeah, the red pill is very interesting. And there seems to be some evidence for it. Some evidence. I'm not one of those angry people that walks around and, oh, everybody's out to get you, and no one, you can't trust nobody. And no, I look for evidence. If I see patterns, I take a note. So I'll leave that there. But the red pill is very interesting. And there's so many other pills too. There's pink pill, red pill, black pill, purple pill. That everything is nuanced nowadays. So Kaja says, I've been studying for the ASVAB. I plan to take it this month. Any tips? Find out what you are weak in the most and prioritize based upon that. So take the ASVAB, take some practice tests online. You simply Google practice tests, and then from the results of that, objectively, reverse engineer that result into a new studying plan based on your weaknesses. So if you look at the test results and this area you struggled in math the most, or you struggled in the reading comprehension areas, that's what your studying should be prioritized based upon, and then use that, and hopefully by this time you've figured out how you retain information. That's the main thing about studying. It has nothing to do with ASVAB or college courses, anything. Find out the way you personally retain information and use that method for your studying, because again, the Air Force is comprised of just a ton of testing. Right now I'm in the ALS. It's a schoolhouse. It's pass or fail. You got to study. There's homework every night. You have to study. You have to know how you retain information. So when I show up to class as the class commander, as the class lead, they look at me to comprehend the information. Luckily, I do that quite naturally with most information, especially when it's not math or physics. I can walk in and just kind of scan the information and got it. And luckily, I just read a lot and I consume a lot of information, so I know most topics already. Like right now, a lot of the topics are covered by Simon Sinek. I've read his books. I've seen his lectures. I'm ready. But that's just me though. So find out how you retain information, reverse engineer, practice test results into prioritizing your weakness areas, and study that based on that result. Hope that helps. Lucky J says it's funny when people ask questions like, "Have you met any PJs?" Yeah, I mean it's quite a popular question. You know, have you met? Do you know anybody in comms? Do you know anybody in LRS? You know, Love and Peace was good. Noah says, "What is one rule out of Peterson's book that you apply to your life?" Let me see if I can pull up his book real quick. Library. It's a good question. I could probably do a whole series on just. Ooh. 12 rules. I hate when my phone like deletes my downloaded books because now I gotta like re-download them. Yeah, what chapter are we on again? All right, so let's see the rules we have. We have rule number 1: stand up straight with your shoulders back. Rule 2: treat yourself like someone you're responsible for helping. Rule 3: make friends with people who want the best for you. Rule 4: compare yourself to who you were yesterday, not to who else is today. Rule 5: do not let your children do anything that makes you dislike them. That one tends to stand out the most to me, especially in hindsight. Rule 6: set your house in perfect order before you criticize the world. And rule 6 is you guys already know I preach that one heavy. Start at home. Rule 6. I reset this one. Rule 7: pursue what is meaningful, not what is expedient. That's a whole video. Rule 8: tell the truth, or at least don't lie. That's always my advice for MEPS. Tell the truth or be quiet. Honesty or silence. We already said that one. Rule 9: assume that the person you are listening to might know something you don't. Humility. Rule 10: be precise in your speech. I'm practicing that now on a live stream. Being articulate, being intentional rather. Rule 11: do not bother children when they are skateboarding. And Rule 12: pet a cat when you encounter one on the street. My favorite out of those, Rule 6: set your house in order before you criticize the world. Before you go out and try to be a hero, start with home. I have more problems in my own house than going out there and trying to, fix politics. No, I need to struggle with, worry about myself. Did I go to the gym today? What will my first meal be? Will it be healthy? Is my coffee at the right temperature? Rule 6. Lucky J says, I am an RF trans guy in the Space Force. I think you said you were financed before. We don't see PJs like that. I feel you. Fun fact, I failed my first AFSC, which was RF. Hindsight. JP, watch your mouth. Watch your mouth. Jaden Not Nice says, possible Air Force jobs that may transfer to the Space Force. Pretty much any job that has to do with space, which is mainly space operators, those who man radars. I don't have a lot of context on the actual job, but I do know a lot of people in the career field. But anybody who works in the realms of dealing with radars or space, arenas, those are the jobs that typically are going there. And of course, you have the administrative positions such as chiefs, who are just superintendents of certain squadrons or what have you, commanders, obviously. Those career fields are typically transferring, although a position is not a career field. But anything that has, like, you have space officers who they only deal with, the realms of space, or not so much space, but just like the air in space, or when it comes to radar communications, those jobs are transferring. Should be like a force of like 16,000, something like that, like 35 chiefs, more or less. Yeah, as Lucky J said, every cyber career field for the most part. Pedro asks, how possible is for the spouse to have a job with a baby? If you're referring to a military spouse, it's very possible. You just need a sitter, if I'm understanding you correctly. Thoughts on serving in Biden versus Trump administration? No comment. Y'all these sneaky questions. Thank you. All right. How possible is it for the spouse to have a job with? Oh, I don't know what you're saying. Yeah, Jaden Not Nice says, man, these Air Force recruiters make you work for their attention. Indeed. There's a level of effort required for most things you want. And so you will be tested in some circumstances to work harder than others. Is what it is. What's the chance of getting a dependency waiver, says Kenneth? I don't know the probability. I just say give effort. If there's something required of you, if you get some instruction, what is your response to that instruction? And how long will it take you to meet the demands of what they're asking you for? Go out of your way to meet the instructions that you're given. That's really all you can do. Michael Chase says, does married airman stationed overseas get BH? No, you would not get BH unless your family is not allowed to go with you. So let's say you go to Korea, which is very common. It's not joint. It's not like you can't bring your dependents with you if you're going like Kusan or Osan or whatnot. Actually, I think one of them you can bring your dependents. I think it's Osan, Kusan. I don't know. But yeah, certain assignments you can't bring your family with you. So in that case, they're still in the States. You would still get BH. Marvin H says, hello, I found your channel yesterday, and this is the first live stream. Thank you for your service to our country and for your opinion and the information you provide on YouTube. Hey, much love, Marvin. Thank you. I always pay great attention to people that just say thank you and don't want anything back. Again, this is a ask me anything, but people that just go out of the way just say thank you, that does not get overlooked. So again, Marvin, appreciate you. Love and Peace 11 says, what is the Air Force viewpoints on applicants with documented past stresses, i.e. a personal loss within 5? I would not know what the Air Force's standpoint on a subject like that is. Obviously, humans deal with loss. It's the reality of the world we live in, as I spoke to earlier. So I don't think the Air Force expects you not to have, traumas or documented stressors or dealing with certain things such as anxiety or depression. Now how they respond to that, again, it's different from person to person. There are waivers for typically everything, and of course there are levels. So like, let's say you have cuts on your arm. The video I made on self-harm, obviously if you're hiring someone, if you're the military and they see cuts on your arm, in most cases the end result is not the best, in terms of your recruit application. I'm sure there are exceptions. Some people get through. It's not the majority of people. So there are cases where, it may negatively impact your ability to join, but don't let that stop you from trying, is my point. So again, nobody expects you to be perfect. We all have a history. We all have a past of, our past struggles. Try is always my advice. Hope that helps. Mystery Man says, when exactly does true happiness occur since we're always programmed to want more? I heard a quote that said, happiness is a state of being that is free. Actually, I believe the full quote was, everyone is always trying to sell you happiness, a state of being that is free, a state of mind that is free. Very interesting question, mainly because everyone tends to define happiness differently. And by defining it as true happiness doesn't really change the outcome much. To me, true happiness is with time and resources combined. Having time and resources combined, but with that having meaning for your life. Not purpose. Purpose is solving a problem, but meaning is the why. And typically, that's why you see people committing suicide when they have millions in the bank, because they don't have meaning. They have purpose. They got the money somehow, and money can solve problems. So you have purpose, but do you have meaning? Meaning it's typically outside of you. You have people that have so much money, but they never think to solve a problem for someone else. They never think to help someone else. I'm not saying give it all away, but again, the struggle for life and for prosperity, not talking about money, but prosperity is the struggle for meaning. So that's the start to the question. That's a question that you have to unravel over time and really dive into. I don't have the time for it right now, but that's typically where you start. If you're struggling with happiness, you're struggling with meaning. Go in search of meaning, which typically will be helping someone. What else we got? Kendrick Barnes says, are you allowed to talk about Article 15s and the type of punishments? If so, have you ever thought about doing a video on Article 15s and UCMJ? I have not thought about doing a video on it because I just tell people to stay away from the edge. There are a lot of things that I deem to be subjective in there, or highly nuanced. Stay away from it as best you can. Again, like if there was a challenge, how close if you're driving the school bus, how close to the edge could you get the school bus without going over? No, stay away from the edge. The UCMJ, there's some things in there that you may not even know are in there. Obviously, ignorance is not an excuse, but if you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, meaning if you feel like something is wrong, just don't do it. Let me try this marijuana tea and see if it really goes in your bloodstream. Let me see if I can drive a mile home while I'm drunk. Some people, there are two ways of learning: wisdom and pain. Some people will hear wisdom and still choose the pain route. Some people will hear that the stove is hot and they will still feel the need to try it. So yeah, I don't typically enjoy making videos like that where you just dive into regulation and, hey, don't do that and don't do this, and then you explain why you shouldn't. No, just in the military, it's quite cut and dry in most cases. If they say don't do something, don't do it. Whether or not you get caught, just don't do it. Son Edward says, Megan, Cardi B, and Summer Walker type artists are toxic artists. Brent Faiyaz and a bunch of artists make these poisonous records and everyone is listening, but they truly don't listen. I agree in part. There's some songs I definitely enjoy. People like these artists that I've mentioned, or you mentioned, they're different, and everybody interprets their music differently. I'm not here to condemn them. They make music, cool. But yeah, pretty much any artist can be seen as toxic, depending on your vantage point. So I'm not here to condemn them, but I just know the potential effects of certain words and certain ideals. And so luckily I live in a world where I can choose whether or not I attach myself to certain ideas and people that follow them. So it is what it is. Brent Faiyaz is actually quite fire in nature. Makes some dope music. Have I watched Zeitgeist? No, I have not. It was good, Young King. I see you. Coco J says, so I wouldn't date somebody that has a YouTube channel. I definitely would. Depends on the content. I'm not asking for anybody to be perfect, by the way. Like, I am far from perfect. I'm a very interesting character. Full of flaws. I think a certain way. A lot of people see me as annoying. Some people see me as, you think too much, you talk too much, you always trying to be right, you're too neurotic, you're just always in your head. Everybody is a desired or acquired taste for someone. So I'm not asking anybody to be perfect. No, I'm not asking anybody to not have an Instagram or YouTube or Snap but I do have the choice whether or not I marry someone or attach my that's what I see marriage. Do I want to attach my social security number to someone else? I'm not in a rush to do so. Kasia. Aha. Correct pronunciation. I'm glad. The kid, appreciate you, bro. Or ma'am. Turbo Low says, hey man, I'm 23, joining the Air Force. What score do I need to on the ASVAB to qualify for a finance job. That question into your goal should be to unlock all the jobs. All the jobs. If you aim at a current certain score, you're probably gonna get less than that. Now, again, I'm not sure exactly what the score should be, but you should be aiming to unlock all the jobs. All you want options, so don't aim low. Don't aim for a specific number because again, you're not even guaranteed that job anyway. Oh, reality is back. Reality is strange with the heaviness. Do you think we have free will, or is is everything we do already predetermined? And I would respond with a single question. Do you look both ways before you cross the street? For those who have missed it, I'll repeat the question and the answer. Do you think we have free will, or is everything we do already predetermined? And I would respond with, do you look both ways before you cross the street? Basically saying that, are you predetermined to get hit by a car, or do you have a choice whether or not you step into traffic? Another example would be, let's say we're in an auditorium. There are 32 of you watching right now. Let's say 32 people are in the auditorium. And I say, you know what? I'm going to buy you all lunch. It's time that you guys all broke bread together. And we provide you sustenance. So for lunch, we have two options. And you are free to decide which one you want. We have on the menu pizza, meat lovers, of course. There's no pineapples or any vegetables known to man atop this pizza as it should be. This is not a salad. This is not a hybrid. This is a meat lover's pizza, and we shall partake thereof. And on the other hand, we have rat. We have rat. Prime, freshly killed rat. New York City rat. Beautiful. Rat steaks. The tail is included, mind you. Now, you are free to choose between the pizza and the rat. But I can tell with a great amount of accuracy and probability that most of you, if not all of you, will choose the pizza. Now, the question is, are you predetermined to choose the pizza? Was there a power? Was there a mind or intelligence or an entity above that said that you were determined that day at that moment to choose pizza? Were you always going to choose pizza? Let's say we lived in an alternative universe where the norm was to eat rat and pizza was weird and pizza was nasty or disgusting or just non-traditional. You have free will to choose the rat. There may be one person in the room that's like, bro, I'm about to break off this rat, that tail, put a little hot sauce, you see me, a little diet, a little diet Dr. Pepper, and we're going to take a nap after that. Everybody in the room could choose the rat. But I don't know for sure, but I am confident in the fact that most people are going to choose the pizza. That's what represents our ability to choose in a given moment, is that there's a right and there's a wrong, and that the person upstairs, God, may know, hey, they're probably going to choose the bad. You know, there's the salad, there's the pizza, the burger, or nachos, what have you. They're probably going to choose the unhealthy option. But they still have the choice between the two. So that's my answer. Free will, you have a choice. Cars are going past. You have a right to choose between whether or not you walk out into traffic. But it's a choice at the end of the day. Hope that answers your question, or at least provides some perspective. It's not cut and dry. So, very interesting topic of free will. Nameless King says, I scored really high on the ASVAB. I'm hoping to go in for a fusion analyst. I have, I'm not sure, Marfans, which is an immediate disqualifier for any military branch. Should I try to hide this? I'm not going to tell you to hide anything. My policy for anything, that is non-favorable in your part is honesty or silence. Just realize that the military is not the end of the world. It's not a reason to try to lie about anything. Liars tend to get caught later. People that try to omit the truth, dance around it. That's the anxiety that you have to live with the rest of your career, trying to cover up something, trying to get around something. I don't advise anyone to try to dance around stuff. So that's your decision to make. Just be okay with the consequences. Let's say you don't get caught immediately. You get caught 2 years from now, 1 year from now. You're about to graduate tech school and they catch you right then and there and say, nope, nope, going home. You're almost about to graduate basic training and they say, oh, nope, we found this. That's your decision to make. Lying tends to just guarantee you get caught later. So silence or honesty. The military is not the only path to where you're trying to go. That's just my thought process. Alexis G says, as a fellow 6F, how do you feel about the changes to the career field? You're probably the first person as finance to comment. So shout out to you, Alexis G. As far as I think you're referring to the CSP, the new Air Force portal thing. I'm a fan. I tried it out at Andrews when it was first kind of being rolled out. I'm a fan of it in terms of technician efficiency because now we have the ability to not have to deal with constant people interacting, the phones and email and walk-ins. I'm definitely a fan of that. But as long as, I don't know, because personally, I still believe that it's somewhat behind the rest of the world. I feel like the government as a whole, in certain cases, are just behind the civilian world, where, of course, we have checks and balances, and there's certain ways that we have to do things in order to be the government, military. Like, we're using taxpayer dollars, so there's a certain level of efficiency and resourcefulness that we have to operate in. But I feel like we're still behind, and this is it's a step in the right direction, but it's just that it's a step when we have miles to go. So hopefully we keep improving. Hopefully, the rate of improvements, improve. I've met with Chief Briscoe, the career field manager, and he seems to be heading in the right direction. But he's at the 32-year mark, and so somebody is going to be eventually taking over from him, and they may or may not have the same ambition level. So we'll see. I plan on cross training anyway. I'm trying to get out of finance, so we'll see what happens. Mystery man, what is your definition of beauty? That's good. That's a good one. What is my definition of beauty? Well, I will rephrase it or redirect the question from how do I define it to how do I define beauty, or what measurements, by what standard do I define beauty? And I use nature. Nature behind me, you kind of see right there, a landscape. Colors come from nature. There's a reason why we call landscapes and sunsets and sunrises and oceans and mountains and deserts, we call it beautiful for a reason, because that's the first standard that we've ever admired. We call people beautiful because there's a certain level of just symmetry. It's a certain level of nature's never wrong. Nature can't be wrong. It was designed that way. Colors that come from the sky and from the sun and the refraction of light. The ocean, it's just water, but somehow it's beautiful. It's just more evidence for intelligence behind what we see every day. Notice how there are almost no parallel lines in nature. Try to find it. Orchards are not natural. There are no parallel lines, meaning there will always be something that indicates how disorder can be beautiful. I don't know. Yeah, imperfection sometimes can define beauty. Symmetry sometimes define beauty. Perpendicular lines sometimes is beautiful. As they say, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. But at the same time, I feel like there's a objective standard for beauty, meaning beauty attracts everyone on some level. Like, once you reach a certain level of beauty, everyone sees you the same way. Oh my God. Like, I'm not saying everybody values the same way, but everyone kind of can acknowledge and point it out when they see it. That is beautiful. And in most cases, it's nature that we find beautiful. Animals can be beautiful. People can be beautiful. Cars can be beautiful. houses can be beautiful. There's a certain standard that we tend to recognize just innately. Like we just see it and like, oh yeah, that's gorgeous. So yeah, it's one of those things that it's more evidence that there's a creator of this universe that we live in, and it's not here by chance. It's not here by chance. What else we got? David Tran says, "Love your videos. I appreciate you, bro. Appreciate you." Daryl Green asks, "Will stricter laws make a better world?" Will stricter laws make a better world? That's good. That's a good one. Stricter laws. Well, better would need to be defined. Better for who? Because depending on the president, the raising or lowering of taxes, someone benefits from that. Not everyone. The increasing of taxes, someone benefits from that. Not everyone. So better would need to be defined, and for who would the world be better? If the government had more power, then of course the president enjoys that. The cabinet, the government enjoys having more power. Whereas people that are under that power, you look at North Korea, you look at different countries where there's a communist or regime. Better for who? So stricter laws, it's subjective. Better is subjective. If you look at the base nature of the world and how we observe it, death is in result in most cases. So, I don't know. There's a lot of context missing from that question. Good question and all, but a lot of context missing, and a lot of details that come from assumptions that better can be universal, a utopia that everything is equal, everyone is the same. That it does not exist currently. So who's to say that it could ever exist? You take away free will in a world that everything and everyone is the same and equal. So that's a very good question. David says he's not eating a rat. I see you. Noah asks, "Do you think there is life outside of Earth?" I like how you asked that question, because most people will ask, "Do you think there's intelligent life outside of Earth?" And in most cases, there isn't intelligent life inside of Earth. We struggle with that as a race, or a human race, rather. I think there is. And this is purely my opinion. It's not based upon anything. It's not based on religion or anything else. I just think there might be life outside of Earth, because there's stuff undiscovered in the ocean and in the forests, and like this Earth alone. There's so much that exists that we just don't know about. The fact that there's human, secrets that we can keep from each other. So what makes us think that there's stuff outside of humans that we don't know about? You don't know what you don't know. So yeah, I think there is. I'm not happy about that. I'm not happy about that opinion. I don't want to be right. It's like kind of like the Loch Ness monster, or Megalodon or Bigfoot. I don't want those things out there. Every time I go hiking, I'm thinking, what if you're right? What if you're gonna find out today what's actually out here? What if there's a elephant-sized wolf running around here? What if there are dragons from from? I don't want stuff to be, but I still have to pause the reality of the possibility, the probability that something might still be out there. So I will hope that there's not anything out there coming to whoop our behinds. That's a scary thought. Let's see what else we got. Almost this is definitely by far my longest live stream. So we're breaking records as we sit. Appreciate y'all sticking with your boy. Been sitting around 30 people for most of the stream. So much love. I'm gonna skip the political questions reasons. But I will say this, that human life is what matters. That's all I'll say for that. Human life. The most dangerous thing to human life is for death to become normal. I'll leave it at that. Ashton asks, do I believe in Jesus? Yes, I do. T asks, how would you construct the world you were about to be born into without knowing your race, religion, sexuality, intelligence, access to money? That is a very interesting question. How would you construct the world you were about to be born into without knowing your race, religion, sexuality, intelligence, access to money? That I would love to make this a whole video by itself. Well, starting off with some basic principles. I would like to have free will again. So I would definitely create a world where I have the ability to choose. I have a moral compass. Because anything other than that, and I'm an animal, I'm a victim of the food chain. You know? So being a human and being able to create guns and create, weapons and create vehicles, I move myself outside of the food chain. And now I am in power. I'm on top of the food chain. So again, that comes from free will. It comes from the design of my mind. So I would like to keep my same mind. I don't want to be switched with a fish or elephant or anything like that. So I guess I'll just address your pillars that you mentioned. My race, I don't mind being black. I feel like being black is a gift. Being African American, it's a privilege. Our history is not good to look at. As if I were to move back in time as an African American, it would not be enjoyable to go back in time for me. Someone my same age, sat in my same seat, sat in the same universe, the same country, the same landmass, but was working for somebody else under threat of being hurt or killed or losing their family. My history is not the best, but I am privileged to live in America. I'm grateful. It's not perfect by any means, but again, my current place in life, I am grateful to have clean water to make coffee and electricity and technology, things that is normal. Again, being black is a gift. My skin color, it's not all that is me, but I am grateful to have a birthmark. I'm grateful to be who I am, to look the way I do. I'm grateful to be 6'2". Thank God. I'm grateful to have my hairline. I'm grateful. Certain thing. I wish I had a fast metabolism. I don't. So yeah, race, we touched that. Religion, again, free will. That points to intelligence beyond us. That also points to certain consequences. So in the question that you asked, if I was to construct the world, so again, I would take away the reality that is consequences, ultimate consequences such as hell or heaven or, in judgment. I would remove that because, of course, I would like to do what I want to do on this earth. But, of course, that means that everyone else gets to do what they want to do on this earth, just like me, which means if somebody wants to kill me, they have every right to do so, and there's no actual consequences at the end of our existence, which is not up to me anyway because I'm not God. I don't think you were putting me in that God position in your question. If I had the choice, I would remove the existence of heaven or hell and just let life be. And then when it ends, it ends. Or, just remove hell. Everybody just goes to heaven. Do what you want. You go to heaven in a world that I created, with my earthly knowledge. That's what I would create. Sexuality, that's a touchy one that I would answer live, but I love the creation of women. It's a beautiful creation. Men are great to play basketball with and go fishing with and build stuff with, and debate with, but I enjoy the beautiful creation that is the human woman. I would remain in my current position. Intelligence, that's relative and somewhat abstract in terms of what I'll create. I don't want to know everything. I don't want to know nothing. So I would pause at the ability for everyone to learn. The ability to learn will be given to all human creatures. I don't want a bunch of extra animals having the same mind as us. So let humans be humans because that's what changed. That's what separates from animals. Imagine if sharks could think like humans, we would be in trouble. Imagine if birds had the mind of a human and they had iPhones too. That would not end well for the food chain would completely be dismantled if everyone thought and had the same mental capacity as a human. We don't need that. We don't need bears running around with iPhones. We don't need wolves running around in packs with Androids. No, that's not what we need. Access to money. Who wouldn't want to have all the money? But again, we pause at the fact that when we play video games and we put in cheat codes, it kind of takes away the fun of the progress and the actual will to progress and succeed and to win. Money is how we solve problems nowadays, and so to take away the value of money is to take away the value of problem solving. It's a very complex question. There's a lot of facets, a lot of ins and outs, a lot of variables to account for. I enjoyed that mental exercise, so thank you to T. End quote. Luis, hey Isaiah, wanted to know how the Air Force is for helping you pay for college. Is it full tuition paid or do they assist? So it's tuition assistance. You get $4,500 per year. So it's meant to offset. There may be some cases where it may not account for all of it. You may have to wait till next year to take some courses, but it's meant to offset. It's assistance. Can you get rich after 4 years in the military while investing? Potential is definitely there. Probability, not as high if you're only accounting for your actual income. If you're investing properly, it's not meant to make you rich instantly. It's meant to make you rich over a span of time. So investing is just that the variable of time is accounted for. The difference between investing and gambling is the amount of time in between. So that needs to be made apparent that investing, you're not supposed to get rich instantly. So when somebody comes to you and say, hey, yo, want to invest in this? Now, there are some cases where you invest one time and it changes your life forever. If you would have been one of those people that invested in Facebook or Twitter or Uber or what have you, you would have saw amazing dividends. But again, it's not meant to happen overnight. There are some cases where you can put 100 grand on red, blow up. But again, if you're coming to the military to become rich tomorrow, it's not one of those cases. There are always exceptions. You have YouTubers that blow up. You have people that buy Bitcoin and it happens to boom, they're rich. But in most cases, in the majority of people, you will not be rich in 4 years. You'll be rich in 40. So the long game must be played. Good question. All right, we got to wrap this up. Kendrick Barnes says, how likely is it to get a cyber job, admin job, or media job, like public affairs or broadcast journalist in the Air Force if you have a high ASVAB score? It's the same probability as getting any other job. There's no way to trick the system. Do you have any idea which of the three mentioned are low or high in demand currently in the Air Force? I do not know. They are all equally, typically in the same demand. The needs of the Air Force change from day to day. Someone getting out of the military, somebody's joining today. Somebody gets kicked out, somebody signs up to the DEP program. I don't have that information. There's a career field called Manpower that typically tracks that information, but that is not my career field. So, Mystery Man, dropping another one. What is the biggest threat to humanity? The biggest threat to humanity is to make death normal. The day that happens, your doorstep will be full of people trying to ask you some questions with threat of violence. Whenever you can see thousands of people die and no one flinches, we have reached high threat. Victor Garcia, have you heard from anyone you are stationed with about getting in the Air Force as prior service? I'm prior service Navy, and I'm thinking about going to the Air Force. Thank you. Thank you for your service, Victor. I know a lot of people who have joined that way. Not personally, but it is definitely possible and tends to be easier. There will be some friction associated with the process, but I believe your process will be somewhat different. You may still have to go to MEPS, but I feel like you will jump straight to the sponsor mode. And this is specific to the Air Force because the Air Force is one of the lighter branches. So, like, let's say you're going from the Air Force to the Marines, you're going back to basic training. Yeah, it's a different game over there. For the Air Force, you're not going back. Typically, you're not going back to basic training. You're going straight to your first duty station, maybe to a tech school first, and then you'll get a sponsor from there. So, it's slightly different, but again, that's something you need to bring up to a recruiter, and just kind of mention. They'll probably ask for your last set of orders, whatever documentation that they may need from you. Mystery Man, how do you feel about the concept of hypergamy? I'm gonna leave that one alone. It's highly nuanced, so I don't have the time to get into it now, but back to my red pill comment. And we got a super chat. Let's move you up. David Frost. Shout out to David Frost for super chat. Thoughts on fire protection MOS? Is boot camp really that hard? Also, will I have lots of time for online college? I will answer your question in reverse. You will have plenty of time for online college. Plenty of time. Like, so much time, like if not the most time out of any career field. Fire has so much time on their hands. You guys work some of the most interesting shifts, like 3 days on, 4 days off, 2 days on, 6 days off. Like, you guys always have the weirdest schedules. But when you are working, you're working around the clock, 24 hours, like shifts and whatnot. But there's actually a dude in my actual ALS class I'm in currently who is fire. I work directly with the fire department at Clear. I work with them very closely. I know a lot of people who's in fire. I have people's phone numbers right now in my phone who are fire right now. It seems to be quite a lax job. On Thanksgiving, the guy whose house I went to, he's fire. I was sitting with like 6 other people who are fire. So I tend to have a lot of close. Matter of fact, the commandant of my ALS course, he is fire, E7. So I know a lot of people who are in fire. The job looks quite interesting. I don't think it's that hard. It will challenge you physically because obviously you have a very interesting and very demanding skill set that you must acquire and learn. And lives on the line. When it comes down to it. So it's not something that's meant to be easy. But yeah, you will have time. It's definitely the opportunity to succeed. And if you need to reach out, definitely hit me up. Hope I might be able to put you in touch with somebody in terms of getting first person, advisement on how it was or tech school was. I'm trying to get to the bottom of the list. Oh my goodness. What is more important, says Daryl Green? Justice or mercy? That's a good question. Yeah, y'all really turning up with these questions. These are some good questions. This is by far my favorite live stream I've ever done. And it's mainly due to Daryl Green and Mystery Man with these quality questions. These some good questions. What is more important, justice or mercy? I would say, I think that's a good question. So if I were to define justice, I would say justice is getting what you deserve due to an action. But of course, the consequence will be based purely on the worldview of the individual making the judgment, while mercy is not giving you what you deserve in a negative standpoint or a negative perspective. I believe so. It'll have to be based on who you're asking. So if you're asking me, if I just killed somebody, I would prefer mercy. If you're asking the family member of the person I just killed, they would say justice. So it's going to come down to who you're asking, the perspective. Since you're asking me what I think is more important, justice or mercy, I'm going to say mercy because one day I'm going to need mercy. One day, my day will come where I'm going to do something wrong, I'm going to need forgiveness. I'm going to have to ask for forgiveness. And of course, I will want mercy to be available to me. So that's a simple answer. There will come a day where we all will need the mercy of others. And, as good as justice feels, and as good as, saying I told you so, and somebody getting what, they actually deserve, because, there are some cases where people, they do wrong and it was intentional and they meant to do it and they said what they said and they did what they did. And, we would all want them to get what they deserve. But there may come a day where your number is called and you do something wrong. You slip up, you make a mistake, and you're going to want mercy. It is what it is. David Tran asked a very generic question, so I must call you out, sir. What do you think about older recruits joining the Army? Do it if that's what you need, if that's what your family needs, if that's what's best for you and your family. Do it. Be prepared. Different branches have different missions, different requirements, different authority in place. They solve different problems. So, boots on the ground. See. Make sure I'm skipping over any questions. Praise the Lord, Ashton. See you. Sergeant Burns asks, have you ever considered becoming a recruiter? I have. It would be a challenge to me to be one of the few, because again, I don't want to put all recruiters in the same boat saying that you guys are all lying or all recruiters are lying. Everyone is out to get you. Everyone's just trying to hit a quota. Everybody's just trying to, get you in and out of their face. But I would enjoy being the person that's just honest with people, straight up, and just kind of telling people the truth about what I know in a given position, such as being a recruiter. Yeah, it'll be very interesting. I think the hardest part will be towing the line of professional relationships, because I enjoy meeting people. I enjoy, getting to know people, making friends all around the world. And so knowing that line and not crossing it, in terms of, all right, we can't text, we can't hang out, we can't go have a conversation, we can't do that. I'm your recruiter. So that would definitely be different. It's kind of like being an officer, where there's limits to your ability to connect with another human. That'd be difficult. Almighty Moreland says 100 stuff. And I must agree. Noah asks, is history accurate? This is one of those questions where it depends on who you're asking, because 10 people saw a car accident. None of them told the story correctly. There's always he said, she said, they said, and then the truth. The truth. History is true. Is the answer to the question. History is true. Whatever happened in that given moment. Now, how you interpret, it's kind of like the regulations where, laws or, is something true? Yes. Like the very generic, way to view the world. Is stuff? Yes, it is. Is the food edible? Yes. Is the coffee there? In most cases, yes, it is. It's right there. So is history accurate? Yes. Because it's history. But as soon as you ask a person, their take on or their interpretation, or are the facts accurate or precise, or did this happen? There's always a nuanced perspective of the variables at play. Good question, though. And again, this is just me taking stabs at these speed pitches, curveballs, and apparently Mystery Man and Noah Miranda, Daryl, what was his name? Daryl Green. They're trying to trip me up live, but I'm ready for you. You hear me? I'm ready for you. Don't play with your boy. And I got coffee in my veins. Is suicide justified? Mystery Man. Is suicide ever justified? That is a question I don't know how to answer. And I honestly don't want to try to answer it because I know if I had a friend or a family member, someone I loved who committed suicide, there is no way I could say yes. There's no way I could, because honestly, to me, in my opinion, suicide is like a grenade. The spread, the impact, it will be more than just that actual area that is affected. It will be the surrounding areas that are affected. It's like the atom bomb or the hydrogen bomb or the atomic bomb, where the surrounding area is just, it's radiated. It's more than just one person impacted. It's the community. You know, you have uh, certain areas of the military that are just more affected than others. You have one demographic that tends to be, you know, more affected than others. But you know, the question is, it's almost like the question doesn't make. It's like asking what is the biggest rock, because there is no answer to that really. It's almost implying that life is the right way to be when there really is no opposing option. There's either life or death, and none of us can know what death is or how death is. We don't even know why death is. We all take stabs at what happens after life. Where do we go? What happens to our mind? Where does our mind go? Kind of like the internet. If your phone dies, if your phone breaks, the internet's still there. So the same, you know, kind of applies to the mind. Your body can die, but where does the mind go? The mind is not material. The brain is. So where does the mind go? Where's the mind currently? We don't know. So when you look at the question like, is suicide ever justified? That's a question that it's not supposed to have an answer, nor can it have an answer. It's a good question. It's a good question because it makes me unravel it. But you know, suicide is just, it's just unfortunate. Suicide to me is hope completely eradicated. It's the opposite of sacrifice. Suicide to me is the opposite of sacrifice, the opposite of love for oneself and others. It's the loss, complete loss of hope. And it's sad every time it happens. Look at my guy on here. What? Oh, Gelati. Oh my goodness. My guy. This guy roasted my life before I left Andrews. I never forgot it. Tex Sarden, O Gelati, entrepreneur. You see him. CSS, major reason why I even put on staff. Hope you're doing well. I never forgot that conversation me, you, and nephew had in the office. Never forgot it. It's why I'm doing what I'm doing. A lot of changes I made due to that one conversation. Lone Wolf, I leave for the Air Force basic training in a few days. My question is, do they piss test you before you ship off? Yes, they do, and they will piss test you again once you get to basic training, unless they have changed that, which I'm pretty sure they haven't. I'm pretty sure they wouldn't. Take care of business. Can Can you join with a past medical diagnosis a year ago? That's a very nuanced question that lacks a lot of specificity. Yeah, that's a question for your recruiter, not MEPS, but for recruiter. This is stuff that will eventually be ironed out because eventually your medical records are going to be pulled anyway. So whatever's documented, it will be brought up at some point. So this is why I always preach honesty or silence, because eventually, the question will be asked. Appreciate you, Victor. I'm trying to speed this up so I can get to the bottom of this list. All right, what else we got? La Vida Primitiva asks, thoughts on SEER specialists and the training pipeline. I don't know anything about the training pipeline. I hear a lot of good things about SEER, though. A lot of people have recommended me going into SEER. I'm not sure why, because I don't do outdoors. I don't do killing rabbits. Yeah. Eventually, I might have to go through it anyway, because I plan on cross-training into jobs that require SEER, such as, flight. What was it? Flight attendant, load master, in-flight refueler, things of that nature. Typically require SEER, so I might end up going through it. Of course, that'd be a video that I make, but currently I don't have information on it. I just know it's survivalist training, so will come in handy for me being stationed in Alaska currently. So JC asks or says, I'm 37 years old and I have a bachelor's in experience in accounting. I want to join the Air Force Reserve. Is it possible to get a job as an accountant? So right now I'm currently operating as a base accountant, as a resource advisor. That is probably the closest thing you will get to an accountant. I'm literally that for my base, Clear Air Force Station. So the chance of you getting that specific job, first of all, it's not a AFSC, it's a position, more or less. And then it's under the umbrella of finance. The closest thing to an AFSC you can get is finance. And then being an analyst is right up, like the person I deal with most is an analyst in FMA or financial analysis under the umbrella. And then I'm a resource advisor, which can be just about any career field. It doesn't have to be finance. You can be just about any career field and be a resource advisor for a given unit or base or what have you. So the chance of you getting that position straight out of basic training is zero. It's zero. And then you getting that being finance, again, that's if you get finance. So if that's something you're pursuing, again, if you're Air Force Reserve, your chance is a little bit higher of getting finance, possibly. A lot of variables at play. A lot of variables. Military is not one of those, it's not like college. So it's a lot of details and a lot of nuanced decision making, that goes into someone landing a certain job. I made a video on, I believe it was like the 3 or 4 variables at play that determine what job you get. So definitely check that video out. Did I skip David Tran's question? Let me make sure. I think I got him. Linux the Strange. I recently got assigned to finance management. I leave in February for basic. Can you give me a rundown of the job and tips for tech school? I believe I've made videos on finance. Don't worry about that as of right now because you wouldn't even understand what I told you because you don't have context on it. But basically, the job of finance technician or a comptroller is to manage resources and to ensure people get paid. Simply put, to manage money, the placement, the efficiency, the resourcefulness, the expenditure, the rate of expenditure, and then ensuring people get paid properly based on their dependency status, their zip code, and certain entitlements that they may be entitled to, deployment, compensation, things of that nature. Make sure people get paid properly. That's pretty much it. But focus on basic training. Focus on getting through that. Tech school will teach you what you need to know theoretically. You'll get to your first base. You'll get started your CDCs. You'll be involved. You'll actually be getting hands-on. You'll understand what I just told you in greater context. What else we got? Gray Fox. I want to be a pilot, but I am missing a college degree. Any advice? Get a college degree, young sir. Young ma'am. I think you're a sir. get a college degree. The price is set for what you want. And in most cases, you can't negotiate it. So do what is required to get what you want. Nika, don't be asleep during my live streams. You hear me? I don't know what was wrong with you thinking you can sleep through my live streams. Appreciate the support. Let me skip down to David Frost. $2 super chat. Appreciate you. Most wanted jobs in the Air Force. Again, another subjective question. My most wanted jobs, I'll answer it that way. My most wanted jobs in the Air Force would be anything flying. I want to fly. I want to travel. I want to go around the world on the military dime. I want to be somewhere that's not a cubicle. I want to be in a different country every week, different, area of the world, different continent. I want to travel. So that would be load master, flight attendant, in-flight refueler, flying crew chief, defense attaché. Put me in a different country, and I will be happy to go explore on my free time and do whatever. In another lifetime, a pilot, flight engineer, a lot of flying jobs. I don't want to be dealing with combat though. I'm not here for a lot of that. I don't believe that's my calling, but it could be. Things change. People change. What else we got? Lauren Anderson says, what do you believe is the best way for an airman to deal with reduction in force if by chance someone is not able to find employment in the reserves? What do you believe is the best way for an airman to deal with reduction in force if by chance someone is not able to find employment in the reserves? I would try to go guard if you can, or active duty, become a contractor. The longer I stay in the military, the more I learn about certain ways to be employed by the military or by the U.S. government and not actually be active duty or not actually be an official, in the uniform per se. Active duty tends to always be an option. It may not be easily, it may not be easy process, more or less, to like just transition smoothly. But it's something that I would look into. It's the safest, long-term speaking. Reduction of force, it happens sporadically. I've heard tales of, the force or the Air Force being reduced by, great amounts, in a given moment. And, they trim the fat, and hopefully you're not in that fat. Hopefully you can leave or come as you go based on your own timeline, and, certain things are out of your control. So, I mean, maybe looking to go to active duty, that might be an option for you. I know a lot of people go reserves or guard because they don't want to move around. They have, their family in a given area. They like a certain state or, given arena. But again, you have to make decisions based on what you need in the moment, based on your family and your well-being. So, hopefully that is an option made available to you. I don't know. Shout out to Rye Grooms, your boy. My guy. Shout out Rye Grooms, $5 super chat. Hey, everybody, go bombard him. He's the fire guy. If you're looking for a fire guy, go get him. Hit him with your questions. This dude's a professional NCO, putting out fires. You see him. He's different. Again, shout out to Rye Grooms for inviting your boy over for Thanksgiving out of the kindness of his heart. Much love, much love. What else we got? David Tran, I have a knife wound on my abdominal area, so the docs had to open my stomach up, but it's been like 3 years. Do you think I would still pass a medical exam? Is that a factor? They're probably going to ask you about it, why you got a scar, but I'm sure it's probably documented in your medical records. So personally, I don't think it'll be a major factor. If there's a reason behind it that is I don't know. I'm not. Here's what I'm going to do from this point moving forward, because I enjoy answering questions, but sometimes it gets to a point where I'm out of my depth and I'll still try to answer the question. So I'm going to get to the point. and get to the point in my life where I can just say I don't know and be okay with that. I don't like giving the answer, but a lot of these questions I don't have the answer to, and I try to answer them. I try to provide hope and provide a way of seeing it differently than the way you would currently see it, or just by someone saying I don't know. But there are certain times in my life where I just need to say I don't know. This is one of those cases where I don't know. I don't think it would be, something that will get you disqualified. I don't think it would. I don't think it will hold you back, but I don't know. I don't know. If this thing keeps skipping, what else we got? At some point, I'm just going to cut this thing off. I'm going to cut off the whole chat, turn the whole live stream off because there's too many questions. I've already answered that question, Mr. Barnes. When the COVID vaccine comes out in the U.S., will it be mandatory for all military service members to take it, or will it be option? Go watch my video on Pfizer. Are you able to refuse vaccines in the military? Again, the question is, or the answer from me would be, I don't know. I don't know. But if you reference all the other vaccines that we have to take as military personnel, there's no option there. So if it comes down that we have to take a vaccine, we'll be taking that vaccine. Daryl Green says, we are ordinary human beings driven by revenge in the name of justice. But what is justice? I may have a video on that. Justice is the right outcome to a given stimulus, rather. Justice could be anything. It's what typically... Justice is relative to the worldview that somebody believes. So if I believe in Christianity and someone kills someone else, justice would be they lose their life because they took a life. But Christianity doesn't teach justice. It teaches grace and mercy. So there's that. Your worldview determines what justice is. Sometimes justice calls for, a consequence, good or bad. But typically, your worldview decides that. Do you understand pain? True pain. Yes. I think most people do. Unless you have a medical condition, pain is universal. Pain is the sign that you have violated the law of order. Mystery Man. Would the world be better with weapons taken away? No, because human minds create anything. The human mind is a weapon. Humans that are highly capable, such as MMA fighters, UFC fighters, Navy SEALs, they are weapons. So to take away a weapon would be to take away the human mind. Do you think humanity will last another 1,000 years? Yes. Barring any supernatural interference. Because humans have, again, our mind is what separates us from animals. So I don't see us going extinct, barring, a nuclear war, which I still think people will survive that, Daryl Green, these vague, did you accept the pain? Yeah, that's answerable. JP says, this is not a question, but your vids helped me land my number one job with my recruiter. I was about to walk in there running my mouth. Kept my mouth closed and negotiate at the right time. Hey, that's what's up. That's what's up. I see you. I'm glad you got the desired outcome. That's what's up. Not everybody gets what you got. So yeah, value that. Value that. Yeah. Says, will an expunged felony from over 10 years ago keep me from joining the military? I don't know. Almighty Moreland. I was reading an article that said the Air Force retained way more people in active duty than originally planned this year. I'm still hoping to get active duty, though. Hope you get in. Hope you get in, man. Noah says learned a lot off this live. Good discussion. Hey, that's what's up. That's what's up. Hopefully, we all learned a little bit from this. Hopefully, we learned something that we can take away and live our lives in a better manner. David Francesca says, "Do you have any plans after you leave the Air Force, or do you plan on retiring in the Air Force?" Currently, today, right now, I plan on retiring. That could change at any moment. Could change tomorrow. Who knows? So we live every day to the fullest. We try to do our best with what we have and the time we have, and we move on from there. David Frost, I'm currently 17 and I want to become an Air Force firefighter. Any suggestions? Rye, hit him up. Maybe y'all can connect outside of this, or maybe in the comments or what have you. If Rye wants to participate and maybe answer some questions, he will text me or DM me or something. Or Rye, hit me up if you're willing to answer some questions. Maybe I can connect you and Mr. Frost. You can talk. And the last question, Kendrick Barnes. Not a question, but a thank you for answering my questions on your live. I've been watching your videos for a minute, and I truly appreciate all that you do, Isiah. You have truly been an inspiration. Hey, thank you. Thank you. This has been a long live. This is 2.5 hours. Longest. This is a world record for Isiah and company. But no, thank you. Thank you for being part. Thank y'all for watching. This has been interesting. I don't do these often, like this length. I typically stop around an hour. But there was questions, and I had some time, and just wanted to, talk, provide value, do what I could. So hopefully you guys, learn something from this. Hopefully, you're able to, take something away from this. A lot of good questions. Shout out to Mystery Man, David. What's his name? David Green, Daryl Green, rather. Mystery Man. Appreciate everybody who participated. Shout out Anthony Morales, $5 super chat. I'm 26, 30 pounds for my goal weight. I'm scared of the test. I want to join the Air Force. Is there anything that you can help me? 26, 30 pounds for my goal weight. I'm scared of the test. I want to join the Air Force. Is there anything that you can do to help me? So first of all, Anthony, realize that fear is irrational. So you're not in danger. So there's no need to be fearful, afraid. This is just a goal that we're going to tackle step by step, one step at a time. We wake up. We have 24 hours to give to what we want, what we desire. The proof of desire is in your pursuit. So 30 pounds, you're not going to burn that off on the treadmill. You're not going to hike your way 30 pounds off. 30 pounds are going to come off by what you eat and what you do not eat. I'm going to suggest a YouTube channel called Low Carb Down Under. This channel greatly influenced my life. Matter of fact, I'll see if I can post it in the chat. Hope I don't break anything. Let's see if I can do this. So yeah, the channel is called Low Carb Down Under. And hopefully it can provide you some perspective on what you should and should not be eating. Very, very influential channel in my personal life that I've used to help me figure out, a lot of health issues, when it comes to what you should and should not be eating. A lot of times we know what we should not be eating, and the hardest part is what we should be eating. I experiment greatly with carnivore, with keto. If you like to do a one-on-one session, or if you like to, talk about what I've done in my own personal life, how I've approached my health, my eating, we can definitely set that up. Links in the description. Last one. Anthony Morales, $2 super chat. Am I crazy for wanting to join the PJs? No. If you want something, do it. Now, just make sure that you do, your proper research. The internet is amazing resource, and a lot of people just underutilize it. The ability to inbox somebody if you know they're a PJ, or if they've put that information out there. Why is housekeeping coming? No, thank you. So yeah, there's information out there, and that's my advice, is to go and pursue that information. Do your research. You have time, time to prepare. This is not something you want to rush into. Battlefield Airmen, not something you want to rush into. You want to do your research. So I don't. You're not crazy for wanting something. The people that go to Navy SEALs, people that go to Green Berets and Rangers and what have you. You're not crazy for wanting something, but you need to be informed, and that's the main thing. Be informed when you make a decision. So that's gonna end the live stream. Appreciate everybody for watching. Much love, much love. Hope you guys all took something away from this, and I will see y'all in the next video. Y'all have a good evening.